I wanted to show you some of the books and the Bible which is very important for you and for your education to deal with the matters, because without these you don't have the evidence in hand and you don't know how to discuss and debate with people. This is very important. The first book I'm going to mention is this, Yehoshua, the Black Messiah. Now this book contains details of why Yehoshua was a man of color, why he was not as depicted in churches as the white Jesus. He was Yehoshua, and the one that is being presented in churches today, I'm afraid, is just a fraud. If you want to follow the fraud, that's your choice. However, if you want to follow the real deal, he is not as depicted, and he does not tell you to break the law of Elohim. Now, apart from this, this book gives you enough evidence of why he is from Neolithic people rather than Caucasian people. And there's a lot of debate and discussion around that, but I will present evidence for you to see where we are going with this. Now the next book that you need to have is Beit Yehoshua, the son of Zadok, the son of Daud. This book basically details the man, Yehoshua of Nazareth, his household. Now, a lot of the times you'll have questions about who Matthew is. Who was Yohanan? His name wasn't John. Who was Mattathiyahu? Of course, his anglicized name is Matthew, but his real name is not Matthew. And we also see who was Mark, who was Luca. Now, these are questions that are important questions. Now, for instance, Matthew. Matthew was related to the Messiah. So, people don't just get up from their workplaces and start walking with somebody strange and leave their job and leave their household. That is not actually common. Now, what is common is that when you know somebody and you know, perhaps through the Holy Spirit, that this person who's leading you is leading you in the right direction, that is when you follow them. This is why it's important to have this material, because this book will show you how Matthew was related. Mattathiyahu, how he was related to the Messiah. He's a family member. Okay? And also, this book will tell you what happened to Miriam, Mary, the mother of Yehoshua. It is not as the Catholic Church teaches it. She did not remain virgin. She, in fact, did get married again. Now, for this evidence, you need these two books. I am also going to show you the AF Bible that I keep speaking about. The AF Bible, I have got the Tanakh here, as you can see. The Tanakh is the Jewish, well, actually the whole Bible is Yehudiyyat, it's whole Jewish. But having said that, the Tanakh is the portion of the Bible up to Malachi, from book of Genesis, Bereshith, to Malachi. This Bible is very important for you to have, to understand who we were as Hebrew Israelites, and where we came from and where we are going. And all your questions that you always ask me will be answered in this Bible. It has got full commentary. It is commentated. It gives you descriptions of names of countries, modern names behind ancient names. It gives you names of people, locations, who they are, what they are, etc., etc. No Bible even comes close. I guarantee you, no Bible comes close to this. No Hebraic Roots Bible comes close to this. Forget the King James Version and the other Bibles out there. This Bible is in mark of its own. And you can purchase this from www.abrahamic-faith.com. Alongside this, you got obviously the Renewed Covenant, what's called the New Testament. And this one will then go into the various, the 27 books that we have. They are translated again from the Greek, Aramaic, and the Hebrew text that we have. Yes, we do have some Hebrew text as well of the New Testament. However, note that this is again translated, corrected with names and everything, places. So this is very important. Genealogies, what happened, who said what, and why, what that actually meant, what are the Hebrew idioms, etc., etc. But we will perhaps come to the Bible again. If you want to purchase a copy, you go to the website. As I said, the website is www.abrahamic-faith.com. Now, our program today was part of the series called Hebrew Israelites. Who were the Hebrew Israelites? We discussed in our last programs that they were people of what I describe as a Nile region. Now, let me actually point out on the map. If my cameraman will take us to the map, we are dealing with the continent of Africa here, my friends. Africa is where Israel is. Israel is not in Middle East. That is a misnomer. That is a misterm. That is a very late developed term. Israel was part of the African continent. If you look here, right over here, all this region is the African continent. And right next to it, in the north, in the border where Egypt is, you find that Israel is right next to it, a small dot. This, my friends, is part of Africa. Now, this sea that you see here is called the Red Sea. This bit here, this Red Sea wasn't always there. This Red Sea came about after the flood of Noah. So therefore, people make mistake when they think that this was the map as it was originally. This was all, including Israel, including Saudi Arabia, Eastern Arabia, this was all one continent. All this area was one big continent before we had these splits and the sea and other bodies of waters that came about after the flood. Now, what we are looking at today and who we are looking at today is an important character in the Bible called King Solomon. King Solomon, by the way, you may have seen in films, you may have seen in books, and you may have seen in other places, perhaps even in Bibles with illustrations, as a white man, as a Caucasian. King Solomon, I'm afraid, sorry for the ignorant pastors and the deacons and whatever you want to call yourselves out there, he was not a white Caucasian. King Solomon was a black man. How do we know that he was a black man? We're just going to look at that now. Now, remember that King Solomon, there is a particular text in the Bible called Songs of Solomon. Now, that's always interpreted allegorically. That is not always true, how they interpret it allegorically. Allegorically is only the second level of interpretation. We always interpret it in the first level. The first level of interpretation, the book Song of Solomon, is about his love affair with a girl Shulamite. Now, allegorically, the Shulamite and the love affair between King Solomon is seen as between the assembly of believers and the Messiah. That's fine, allegorically. But it is not fine when you want to look at it literally. We must first look at the text literally, then we can look at it at the other levels of interpretation. Now, I want to point out that the Shulamite girl, let me show you, she was black girl. Song of Solomon chapter 2 verse 5. I am black, but comely, O you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. So, the Shulamite girl was black, and yet that girl is also depicted as a white girl perhaps in pictures and in other areas. That's the first deception. We need to get rid of the deception. This deception was created for various reasons, and perhaps through ignorance, and perhaps because of the sin of the Hebrew Israelites, their history was slowly erased through European effort and through other efforts. However, coming back to this point, what I want to show you is like attracts like. What does that actually mean? Historically, it means if you've got a white man and a white woman, they'll be attracted to each other. A Caucasian will attract a Caucasian, generally speaking. Majority of the times. A black woman will be attracted to a black man. And when I say black, it doesn't necessarily mean jet black. Black is not really a color as such. Or I should say even white is not a color as such. It depends on the pigmentation of your skin. If you look at this is a shade of black. My hand, my skin color is a shade of black. Yet, you may not call me black. You might call me brown or light brown. So within black, you'll have brown, light brown, you'll have dark brown. So these are all the different shades. Same perhaps in the white color, you may have some people very white, with least pigmentation, and some with slightly pigmented and maybe slightly, what you might term is, like, not exactly like my skin, but close to it. So coming to that, King Solomon was black. His wife, Shulamite, was black. Now, let's look at it further. Shulamite's described as tents of Kedar. Okay? It says, "O you daughters of Jerusalem," as the tents of Kedar. The tents of Kedar, Kedar is a son of Ishmael. The Arabs are also known as Bayt al-Shahar. Now, Bayt al-Shahar means houses of hair. In the old days, out in the desert, the Arabs made tents